just came out there and just didn't do our jobs. We got beaten all aspects of the game, but I mean, I think a loss like this was very much needed. I think it's better for us in the grand scheme of the season, and I think we need to get put in check. I think we needed a reality check, and I think that we needed someone kind of just remind us, that we still have a lot of ball left, and I mean, nothing's going to be given. We got to go out there and take everything. So even with the guys we had in there, we had enough. We have enough talent to go out there and beat that team. I just think that we just came out there and played piss poor.
Zeke said it best. Welcome into Cover 4, guys. Cowboys shut out for the first time in 15 years. I'm still trying to process this a little bit.
I think? Yeah.
We're going to get through it together today, though. We are presented by JCPenney, guys, and I know all of your comments are probably insane right now, so let's just get to the good stuff. David, please take us in the right direction.
Yeah, forgettable game. We all know that, right?
Yes.
It goes without saying. I'm going to choose to see the positive here. I think our friends in the Cowboys were actually thinking of us in the media. They knew if they clinched too early, we would have to fill 2 weeks of shows with nothing. So they were actually thinking about us. They wanted to make our jobs more interesting. I kind of appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Guys, one of my favorite quotes is, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it's happened." And that's how I feel about the sleeves. I'll always remember the sleeves and the magic that they brought, Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, but they have to go. And it makes me tear up a little.
Well, we got you with that one, Taylor. But when you look at the Cowboys, this is what you call a burn it film type of game. Nothing went right for the Cowboys in this game. They didn't tackle, they didn't line up, they couldn't pass, they couldn't kick, they couldn't do anything. This is the kind of tape you just come in, you burn it, and you look forward to Tampa Bay to get things back on track. You don't worry about it, you burn it, and you move forward.
The guys on the postgame show last night, former Cowboys, were saying they should do just that, not even watch this film.
Burn it.
Burn it. Okay, that's a thing. Hopefully the film is being burned right now.
You won't see them for another, 3 years?
4.
4 years?
Yeah. Bye-bye, Colts. Go
Overreaction Monday is happening right now, and you just mentioned it, Jess. Let's talk about this bad tackling. How do you go from being the hot boys on fire last week to what happened against the Colts in just 1 week, guys? How does this happen?
It's football. It happens. Every now and again, you're going to turn up and have a bad game. This defense has been fantastic all year long. Guys flying to the football, guys being headhunters, guys tackling. You don't get that elite status, that conversation, being that conversation about being one of the top defenses in the league if you can't do these things. This game, it could have been an early start. It could have been one of these guys just tired, but this type of stuff happens. It's not something that they've done all year long.
Okay, I think Marinelli will remember that.
I hope so. That's what makes it troubling, just for me, is that we haven't seen this all year. I mean, 178 rushing yards for the Colts. That's probably the scariest stat from this whole game. They gotta clean
But
that up.
something you have seen from this year, David, and you've harped on it, is the red zone attack from the Cowboys on this Overreaction Monday. What do you think?
What
are you thinking?
It's the same thing that we've seen all year. They did it when they were winning too. This is who they are. It's
that
fine.
Throw, I never want to see it again.
The throw, I mean, you have the Olawale drop, you have the Beasley drop in Atlanta, you have the Noah Brown play, the inability to run the ball on 3rd and 4th, or the lack of desire to. Take your pick, because it's about 18 different things. I know, they got injuries on the offensive line. This is a problem. It's a problem when you're winning. When your defense isn't playing up to snuff, it's even worse. I mean, it's something you've got to deal with. God, I wish it could be better, though.
Can we stay out of jumbo package on 4th and...
Why are we running 13 personnel in these situations?
Stop it, please.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jess.
What do you say we talk about Dak Prescott hitting the turf? These sacks have been a problem also throughout the year. I mean, there's no overreaction there.
Yeah, well, Lindsay, you kept saying it yesterday. We're sitting in here watching the game, and you're like, Dak, Dak, Dak. Because that's what you're feeling like the entire time watching him. You're like, let go of the ball, let it out, because the fact of the matter is that he's getting more pressure that's put on himself than anything. Granted,
that's enough time right there, guys.
Yes.
We counted 4 Mississippi, 5.
And granted, the offensive line issues, they're prevalent, and you're seeing these injuries happen. Xavier went out of the game. But look at that. I mean, anybody would have that much time. And especially when you're a pro quarterback and you're used to kind of being on the move.
Pocket awareness. Pocket awareness.
Yeah.
You have to be able to, and it's just subtle. It's a slide to the right. It's a slide to the left. It's a step up in the pocket.
That's a wedding song.
Slide. It's a dance move.
It's the cha-cha slide in the pocket.
That's it.
He needs to do that more.
Last one for you guys, penalties. Talk to me about the penalties, what you saw. week to week. Are we overreacting here with this?
No.
Just mental mistakes. I mean, completely mental mistakes. I mean, I think when you're seeing the holding calls and the different things like that, I think, what were you going to say, Dave? You looked like you were pretty passionate about that.
No, I don't feel passionate about it. It's the nature of football, because I can't help but think about the game against the Saints. An awfully grabby secondary in that game, right? And it worked out. This is how they're coached. This is how they play. They're physical. I think it can backfire if the refs are quick with their flags. I think you saw that on defense, and the offensive line too.
The Tyron Smith holding call. Let go of him. You finished the block.
Every single game, Coach Garrett and his staff, they get a list of referees and what those referees call each and every week. So you know when you're going into a game, hey guys, this week this referee crew calls a lot of holdings. This crew calls a lot of offensive, pass interference, so on and so forth. So all of that stuff, you know beforehand. So it's on you to correct those things in the game.
The cast of characters has changed, and the problem, it's changed over the course of the season. But going all the way back to Carolina to yesterday, offensive line, penalties, execution, it's been a problem for this team. Which is ironic to say for the amount of talent they have. It's just, that's
Can we
the
just
case.
have some talk of the TZ to get me excited?
Take me there. I'm done with overreaction.
Linz, we just need some talk of the TZ. Well, thanks to Dave Hellman, we immediately found out about the Zeke story of the day. After the game, he signed and gave his cleats to a kid in the stands who had the sign that it was his first Cowboys game.
Guys, when I say it took him 5 minutes to get his cleats off, like to
unwrap.
Have you ever seen him try to get off his jersey?
The dedication of, the time it took to get untaped and get those shoes off after just getting their butts whipped, I was impressed.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Good job, Zeke.
And very cool to see all the support that Jalen Smith had there. We all knew that the Cowboys fans would travel strong, but Jalen Smith from Fort Wayne, Indiana, him and his brother, over 100 family and friends. Guys, I don't even think that I can count that many people that would want to come to a game for me, but very cool to see. And then, yes, we saw some bad injuries for the Cowboys yesterday, but nothing like what happened to Alex Smith this year. And he is finally released from the hospital, which is absolutely crazy to think, because that was 1 week before Thanksgiving that he was.
It's been a long ordeal. Glad to see that he is out. Yes, get better, Big
Let's end on a positive note. A life-changing day for Charles Leno Jr. Proposed to his girlfriend after the game. Kings of the North, now kings of the wedding aisle.
Did you see that? So first time since he's been with the Bears that they win the North. First time they beat the Packers at Soldier Field, and he gets engaged on the same day. I mean, that's an all-timer.
What a day.
That's an all-timer. And he gets to wear that little scuba head knit thing in the photos.
All right, quick break from the studio with all my scuba heads in here. We are coming back talking more about this guy, the hype man, Tavon Austin, Amari Cooper, and the Cowboys shut out yesterday.
We're gonna win on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey Dallas Cowboys fans, I'm Danny Sarek at the AT&T Media Center. Cowboys rookie linebacker Leighton Vander Esch is proving his worth as the Cowboys' first-round draft pick. According to the Cowboys, Vander Esch has recorded 138 tackles. That's the most by any Cowboys rookie in franchise history in a single season. The Wolf Hunter is proving his case to be Rookie of the Year. Despite the Cowboys' loss to the Colts, the Cowboys are still in first place in the NFC East and 1 win away from clinching the division. Coming up next, the Cover 4 crew will look at the playoff picture, so stay tuned.
tears. Actual tears.
It hurts putting that on the show, but it's too
That was
funny.
Bleacher Report.
It's too
Dave
funny
did
not
not make that video.
No, I did not. I wish I had that kind of
That was hilarious.
0 points scored, but still in the playoff picture. Yes, it is still nice for the Cowboys. Nothing changed, right? You just got to go win against the Bucs.
Literally nothing changed. Other than, okay, we talked about the Bears. They beat the Packers. It's hard to imagine the Cowboys can get the 3 seed now. If they're going to make it, it's probably as a 4 seed. That's okay. That was going to happen anyway. So, again, burn the tape, flush this game. If you win one of these last 2, you're right where you would have been anyway.
I see something that changes the fact that Minnesota is now in place of Seattle. And, I mean, granted, 2 more games to be played, but I don't know if I would rather see Seattle again or Minnesota if that were the way things would shake out.
To that point, I mean, nobody in the NFC looked great yesterday.
Yeah.
Seattle loses an overtime game to the 49ers, one of the worst teams in the league. You saw the Rams lose a second straight game to an Eagles team that doesn't have any players left. So it's hard to find the team in the NFC that really feels good about itself right now, except for maybe the Bears.
Saints tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what the Saints
Vikings.
do.
I don't want to have this offensive line going up against that defense in the Bears.
Yeah.
Give me the Vikings more so than the Bears.
The Vikings, Vikings, Bears, Seahawks, all teams with really good pass rushers.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Oh,
just
boy.
Get yourself ready.
But now
humbug.
we can just go straight to the pro shop on Sunday and get those hats and t-shirts because they'll be at home at least.
She's calling it.
She's still
Calling
confident. I like it.
So
I like
you lead
it.
me into my sound off question, Taylor. I'm asking you guys, was the Colts game what Ezekiel Elliott said? Was this just a bump in the road, something they needed, or is this more than that?
I feel that to be true. Now, I think Dave's right in the sense about the bad tackling and just easy things that they did wrong in the day. But if you've seen this team, I mean, this is a team that just went off a 5-game win streak, beating teams like the Saints and the Eagles. I think that this was a bump in the road. I think that they honestly just weren't executing.
You know,
and that's an
watching
easy
this game,
fix.
it's you're not going to win them all. I think it's just the way
that they lost. Lindsay,
the
you're
Cowboys
right.
fan would have loved it to be a 23-20 game, 23-10.
I think it was a bump in the road for the defense because they played very uncharacteristic. I think it was a lot of the norm for the offense.
Red zone.
And winning.
Are we ding, ding, ding for Jesse?
Winning has cured a lot of this stuff, but the red zone inefficiency, the turnovers, the bad play up front, the penalties, all of that stuff, you normally don't win. You don't win games when you have, almost 100 yards of penalties. You lose a turnover margin. You can't score in the red zone. They won 5 games with that formula. That's not a good formula to live by.
The norm they didn't have, though, was Ezekiel Elliott toting around the ball so little.
Right. I mean, even yesterday, he had 25 carries.
He had a nice day.
He had 25 touches.
But not having,
Well, they didn't have enough. You realize of all of the games so far in the league this year, no team has had fewer possessions than the Cowboys did yesterday.
Say it again, David.
7 possessions. It's the fewest number of possessions in an NFL game this season. Zeke didn't have a lot of opportunities. I hear that, and that's why it's both for me. Honestly, it's troubling, mainly from the defensive standpoint. Jesse, you're absolutely right. That is uncharacteristic. That is not what we have gotten used to.
Right.
It's going to get them beat if they don't play better because this team's only going as far as its defense can take it. And that's why the offensive struggles don't bother me that much because it was basically what we've seen. I know they didn't score any points, but all of the same problems were there. And that's why I think the offense can overcome that. The defense can't afford to let that happen again.
Guys, that's our sound off for the day, and that is our show for the day. So stop overreacting and just get ready for the Bucs game. Jesse, OT time.
Well, we talked a little bit about in the show today, the Cowboys, when they are 10 yards and in, so that's goal to go, they're 47.6% scoring touchdown that way. That has to improve. There's no way you can go into the playoffs and be that bad when you're that close to the end zone. The Cowboys have to find ways to get better. They have the talent. They have the personnel. They got to go out there and just execute, or we'll be sitting at home really early in January.
In my kickoff earlier, I brought up the sleeves, and that kind of ends now. The superstitions are over. But if you guys really want to know the truth why the Cowboys lost yesterday, you have to blame Dave Hellman. He got a haircut last week, and that's really the only reason that I see they lost their magic. So, Dave, thanks a lot.
Your fault.
The beard trim and the haircut really did it in for this team.
Just imagine, if you will, imagine spending 16-hour days, 6 days a week to get ready for football games. All of the tireless preparation and work that goes into getting ready to play a football game. and to chalk it up to sleeves or a haircut or a beard trim or Lindsay Draper. It's just
For the Hot Boys construction
ridiculous.
hats.
It's ridiculous.
You don't even
Superstitions are for the weak-minded. Don't fall for the trap. Just bounce back and beat the Buccaneers. It'll be fine.
See you guys
It'll be fine.
tomorrow. Brand new episode and Christmas episode happening this week.
Yeah!
Woo!
There you go.